Hey there, it's Mr. Tush, and we're going to take a look at 1.4. And the 1.4 we're going to take a look at, it's assignment 1.4, analyzing the rhetorical situation. If you remember, that was the assignment where I had to take a look at the article about the girl who practices hijab, and then you took a look at the Frida Kahlo. And the Frida Kahlo picture was the one with her between the two, between the United States and Mexico. And, we're going to take a look at how you answered the question. I'm going to show you a few successful ones, and I identified them as 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, this is the image that you were looking at. It's got Frida Kahlo here on the borderline between Mexico and the United States. And there's a lot of metaphors in here, a lot of specific visual evidence. And she called it self-portrait on the borderline between Mexico and the United States. So you can say that for sure, this is Frida Kahlo, and we know that this is the Mexican flag. So we talked about that. Now, some people gave me some really good answers. So let me show you some of the things that work. One of them was this one. I'll go to example one. Example one, this person has a very interesting way of organizing their work. You may not be able to do this on the AP exam, but in terms of a 40-point answer, this is an absolutely fabulous 40-point answer. Because look what she does. And I know this is a she. She says the Mexican flag is held elegantly by the woman, whereas the American flag is hidden within the air pollution. Notice what she did. She pointed out specific pieces of evidence, how she's holding the Mexican flag, and she talked about elegantly. She even cited these gloves versus how it's buried in here. So very specific pieces of evidence that back her viewpoint. Compared to America with air pollution, Mexico has flowers and clear skies. She pointed specific evidence. Country versus big C. Right on the right, you see the word for in the building, whereas the left gives off more of an agricultural setting. So she talked about these very specific pieces of evidence. She did it in a diagrammy way. When you write your final essay, no, you're not going to want to do that, but this was fine for this assignment. I had no problem with it. I thought it was a great way to analyze it, and it's a way of organizing your thinking. So if you never thought to put it together in outlines like this is a great way of working. I don't mind you getting out of the box for these exercises. Separating it out and finding other ways to work can be a great way to put your thinking out in front of yourself so you have an idea of what you're looking at. Let's take a look at example 2. It's another good one. A couple of things that were in here. By painting the American flag in a huge pile of smoke, it illustrates how the United States mainly focuses on building factories instead of saving their land from atomic waste and pollution. I think atomic waste is a bit of a hyperbole there, and I like hyperbole. It's actually not bad. But look at what happens. She gave you specific evidence of what she's saying. She says this has this effect on the viewer. That's important when you're bringing in evidence, okay? Number 3, here's another one I noticed. In Frida's art piece, I noticed that the left side, Mexico, had a clear slide of nature and remaining marks of historical identity. However, the side shows the United States is filled with buildings that hide the sky. All right, those are getting on the name piece, or getting on the identifying the specific elements piece. A little vague, but it's getting a lot closer. You want to actually say flag buried in smoke. You want to get specifically remaining marks of historical identity like the ruins. So when you talk about historical identity, you want to talk about the ruins, but you are generally speaking about it. That would have gotten like a 3 out of a 4, as opposed to a 4 out of 4, because it talks about them generally, but you are on the right track. Also like the writing here. Between Mexico's way of self-preservation compared with the United States clouded self of identity. There's kind of, I like the way that she's trying to use some harder words in there. This here is another good example. Americans believe that idealizes factories, money, and tangible artifacts. But here we get down to she wants to show them that her culture is more attuned with nature beliefs as shown in the temple. This is an example. Beliefs, their personal and religious beliefs as shown in the temple. Earthly elements from which we get the sun, moon, and clouds in the back. She points to very specific things, the sun, moon, and clouds in the back. Very specific. Oh, I see that in that specific item. Sun, moon, and clouds right here. I can point to that. The more you can make it really easy on your viewer or on your reader to know what you're talking about. An example of this is clouds versus factory smoke, and I'll correct that, smoke. But that's absolutely clouds versus factory smoke. And you can go over here and you can see clouds, factory smoke. And she used the same colors with both of them, but gave them a very different context. So notice the thing to look for when bringing in evidence is I see this, and it has that effect on the reader. I see this, and it has that effect on the reader. Do that more often, and you're going to find yourself a lot in a better place to really make your point when you're writing your essays. I hope that helps when you're writing your essays for your practice exam this week. Thanks so much for watching.